I'm John Sinquefield. I've prosecuted in Louisiana for over 45 years. A lot of you know me. I've prosecuted in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lake Charles, Washington, D.C. I prosecuted Todd Wessinger, the death penalty case that Mr. Gazzardo talked about. I prosecuted Derek Todd Lee, the South Louisiana serial killer, in the death penalty case here, which involved 6 victims. I don't know how many death penalty cases I've prosecuted or how many death penalties I've had. I've had 3 people actually executed that I prosecuted, and of course I have Todd Wessinger, who's eligible now except for the drug protocol. I just want to speak briefly and tell you that Louisiana has a modern death penalty statute that provides options to the district attorneys. It has enumerated crimes that you have to commit in order to even qualify for the death penalty. Just killing somebody in Louisiana is second-degree murder. You have to do something special to qualify for the death penalty. But it's more important now, our death penalty statute, than ever, because we have a new class of murderers on the scene that when I started prosecuting in New Orleans in 1971, I don't think existed, or I certainly didn't remember them. We have school shooters. We've got people that like to go into elementary schools or high schools and kill people, kill our students. Sometimes they kill themselves, sometimes the police officers kill them, but there have been occasions that they didn't. Last one, I remember went to McDonald's and was eating McDonald's after killing several students. To me, it depends on what you believe. If you go in a school in Louisiana, and I have a lot of young people in my family, and you can go in there and shoot them up just quite because you're having a bad day, or your mama jumped on you, or you want to make CNN, then a life sentence is not acceptable for me for that. I want you to be executed as punishment for that. And I want people to know that if you contemplate that in Louisiana, and you go in our schools and you shoot up our children, then somebody like me, through due process, is going to be trying to execute you. You're going to find out what it feels like. And we got people now, terrorists, that are killing people all over this country. It's not just in Boston. It's not just in New York. They're finding unusual places now to take big trucks and drive down streets and kill people because they hate the United States. They hate our institutions. And if this happens, and God help me, I hope it doesn't happen in Louisiana, then I don't want that person to go down to the general population in Angola and receive free medical care for life, free legal care for life, get to watch color TV, get to play basketball, get to take part in rodeos, get to take part in craft shows, get to have visits from their family, get to breathe the air and get to enjoy the outdoors in Louisiana. And there's no such thing in Louisiana as life without suspension, probation, parole. I can tell you for an absolute certainty, because I've been handing out life sentences for over 45 years in Louisiana, and I can't tell you how many of my people are out or got out. Because you can't have life without suspension, probation, parole, because you have commutation. Governors can commute to certain number of years, usually 30, which makes you eligible for parole, and you get out. Used to be the 10-6 rule in Louisiana. Now it's longer, and it depends on the governor. But you look up in Illinois and other countries where lame duck governors on the way out, last 2 weeks, start letting murderers go. How does victim family members feel about that? And maybe you have the appropriate case where one should be let out. I understand that too. But on these people that do these things, when I see these pedophiles leading young girls, like out in Georgia, out of a shopping mall. And then that little girl is found and she has been raped and her throat cut and she has been thrown on a garbage dump. Then to me, that demands the maximum punishment. It demands that that person, through due process, should be executed. He shouldn't be allowed to live his life on those certain type cases. What's the latest one out here where some man killed his wife and kids and stuffed them in oil drums out there because they don't want to go through a divorce or they don't want to pay child support? There are monsters in our society, like Derek Todd Lee. I prosecuted him. He got the death penalty and died before it was carried out. He had, depending on where you believe the police or whatever, I tried him on 6 victims. He had both black and white victims, non-discriminatory. Police believe he did 3 more, probably 12. He terrorized 600,000 people for 3 years. And there wasn't much wrong with him. He was a smart guy. You can hear the basic arguments that I've heard through the years, anti-death penalty arguments. It costs too much. Sometimes racial disparities are argued. They argued life sentence, whatever. I say that we have the death penalty statute that should be left as an option to prosecutors. And several years ago, we made it an option that the DAs can prosecute for first-degree murder, but they don't have to seek the death penalty if they don't want to. But I say now than ever before, we need these protections in our statute. Our statutes make it first-degree murder. They give protection to police officers who go out every day in situations where they can get killed. Watch the news. You won't go 2 weeks without a police officer being gunned down and killed in this country. But people know the states that don't have the death penalty and you can kill police officers. What about prison guards? 65% of the people in Angola are down there serving life sentences for murder. They're already serving life without suspension, probation, parole. So if there's no death penalty and they kill a prison guard, what's the penalty? Another life without suspension, probation, or parole? We need these protections. We need this statute as an option. And I believe that it should be used in special occasions. I think we should be very careful that there are no racial disparities in our selection of defendants or victims. But at the end of the day, when you have, as I have, faced off across a courtroom with some of the most vicious murderers that have ever lived in the state of Louisiana, then I tell you, please, please, please preserve this option for people like me that want to back up victims like these behind me and seek the death penalty in these special cases on these monsters that exist in our society. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sinquefield.